Hey yo, what's good guys? Not video here. Today we got what British people think of America. Not gonna lie, something a little different that should be interesting, should be funny. Hey, I'm curious. If you're a British person, what do you think about America? Not just Americans. You can include Americans too, I guess, but just like America in general. Either way, let's get to it right now.
Okay, what comes to your mind when I say America?
Trump, guns, violence.
In terms of America, I know everybody criticises Donald Trump, but he is the elected leader, and if you're a supporter of democracy, well, they've chosen him, and I know he's supporting Israel, so I suppose there's that element of it which isn't very helpful.
When you say America, I think Trump and...
That's interesting for me immediately, that they immediately think of Donald Trump. When was this recorded? I'm curious. 2 years ago? Interesting. Okay. I want to see like a newer version of this video, because fuck, if they're thinking of Trump then, I can only imagine what they're thinking now.
I don't like Trump.
I say a country with so much potential, but so corrupt that it's an underwhelming country. Third world.
That actually, you know what? So far, I think that would be the closest to my view, is a place with a lot of potential that's getting wasted. So far, that is honestly okay. That's closest to my views right there.
Country in a Gucci belt.
Interesting.
Basically.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Anti-vaxxers, I think of people not wanting to wear face masks. Their liberty comes first, their individual right to do whatever they want trumps everything else at the expense of the greater good. It's irresponsible. Yeah, not a fan.
I have quite strong opinions on America. Are you surprised? I mean, more recently, given the current administration, my opinion of America is right down there. I have been to America a few times. I've lived there as well. It's a very interesting country in some ways. To me, it's like an adolescent flexing its muscles and trying to pretend it's bigger than it is, interfering in other people's countries, etc., etc.
Hey,
It's
yo.
a bit of a...
They said we some fucking teenagers. You know, here's the thing. I laugh, but I understand where they're coming from, you know? Like, shit.
Cliche, but I suppose it's like every other country. There are good people, there are people who are perhaps not quite so good. I've known many very generous Americans.
Madness, craziness.
You know what? That's the other opinion that I would agree with quite a lot. So far, there have been two opinions that I support bigly. The first one that I was talking about, and the one where he's like, there's a lot of good people, there's a lot of shitty people. You know? Like, the one about the potential, the one about the good and bad people. So, you know what? Those, to me, so far, are the two ones that I'm aligning my views with the most.
Oh, really?
Yes. I go over a couple of times a year. My friends live in Houston. I do love the country,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't want to live there. Yeah.
Why not?
No. You go from state to state. Laws are different.
Very
Sometimes
true.
times are different. No,
Very
I
true.
wouldn't want to stay there now. I think it's quite a dangerous place to live these days, especially.
There is a lot of things like happening.
Just like how she said, the different laws have different states. Like, I feel like when they talk about danger, they think of guns, which, you know, it's not like there's constant gunfights. I understand why a lot of people, though, would believe that because of what they see on the news and how it sounds so crazy. And, hey, perhaps it is insane and I've just lived here my whole life, so I'm immune to it. You know, that's possible. But, like, it's really not as insane as it is. Like, I live in a small country town. There are more guns here than people. I can't tell you the last time there's been a shooting in the town I live in right now. Like, I genuinely can't tell you. I think the last murder in this town was in, like, the 80s, I heard. Like, it just don't happen. It's not... I don't know. Not everywhere in the U.S. is dangerous, but there are dangerous areas. Like how she said, it varies state to state. Like, there are states that have more strict gun laws than some countries do who are very strong on gun control. There are states that are like Texas where you can have a fucking pet tiger. That's why I want to move to Texas. Texas is fucking fun. But that's beside the point. I really don't want to move to Texas. But a place that has lax laws, because, you know, I like having fun. And more laws equal less of what I call fun. But hey, either way, that's beside the point.
Things. There's two parts of America. Like I think they're not like a unique country.
I think America has always been the kind of country that online, oh, it's the amazing, this best country ever. But when actually you see the facts, it's like, oh, there are more troubles, you know.
America's freedom, but I think there's also a lot of discriminations, especially if you're colored. It's quite normal if you came to a foreign country, you would experience these things. But I think America is, you know, they have the worst experience. I think here in the UK it's more calmed down.
I don't want to give any opinion about it. So.
Obviously, with them being a bigger country.
As a white dude, I don't feel like I can truly give a, honest equivalent because I haven't experienced that through my own eyes. But what I will say is that I think that more varies area to area. Like, I don't think it's as racist, say, in the South as a lot of people believe, because I lived in North Carolina for about 6 years. It's not as racist down there as, say, a lot of people might believe, but there are definitely areas that are more racist. But I feel like that applies everywhere. You get me?
Experience.
But I understand where he's... I think that's one thing I'm surprised about is I understand where a lot of these views are coming from.
These things, but I think America is...
But also, from what I've heard, now you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I've genuinely heard this somewhere that a lot of people say America is one of the less racist countries they've been to. Again, have I misheard? Have I been misinformed? I haven't been out of the U.S., so I very well could be. Let me know.
You know, they have the worst experience. I think here in the UK it's more calmed down.
I don't want to give any opinion about it. So.
Obviously, with them being a bigger country and they take more prominence on the world stage, so I think when we're talking about masks and the ideologies around wearing them, the news is quicker to pick up on dissent. And I think people have been getting quite a harsh rap with regard to adjusting to the lockdown measures in the US or here in the UK, wearing masks being mandated. It takes a time to adjust to those, and I think nobody's being given the leeway to set up the behaviours to adjust to that and then to enact them. So, for example, again, my PhD is in behavioural science. I think when people are having to set up a new set of practices, no one's being given the time to allow them to learn how to do that, to wear a mask consistently. When people in Florida are having open town hall meetings and talking about their personal liberties and how mandating masks goes against them, it does a disservice to us as people when we're having to learn a lot in this kind of new world that we exist in. And so I think America kind of serves as kind of what not to do sometimes, especially when it comes from messages from the top down.
I find it rather a bossy place.
See, this is my experience as an American and what I see in other places. I feel like as people we are a lot more stubborn. Like I feel like other countries they're a lot more like they bow down to their government a bit more. Whereas I feel like we're a lot more like you can use it with the masks, you can use it with guns, you can use it with a lot of things, I'm sure. Where in other countries they're like, or lockdowns, that's a good example too. No, okay, fair enough. Government said don't go outside, whereas you say that to an American dude and we're like, man, the government can go fuck itself. We do what we want. Woo! Woo! Like, we like, straight up. Yeah, I feel like we're a lot more stubborn and, like, we just don't like listening. Myself included, honestly. Like, myself included.
Maybe that's just New York, I don't know, So walk, don't walk. Stand behind the line.
That's more city environment. Out in the country, honestly, like, you can do pretty much whatever the fuck you want.
Why even come to America?
Yeah. So they interrogate you at the immigration.
Yeah, that's right. But on the whole, I just don't think about it. Made their bed, they can lie in it.
What is your opinion of America? What comes to your mind?
Well, I love America because I am half American.
Do you go there quite often?
I try. I mean, recently I've been there two, 3 times a year. I'm just very interested in the history of America. It fascinates me. I mean, I'm not going to talk politically because there is so much going on. I don't live in America, so I mean, we all have our views on certain topics. I do feel they're not treating the whole COVID-19 situation very seriously.
I will say, we fucked COVID. The whole, like, bro, there was a whole, like, fucking debate on even if COVID was real, then, like, I will say right now, yeah, we fucked COVID. Like, dog, Yeah, I will. Yeah, no, there is nothing I can defend about the whole COVID situation.
So, I mean, we all have our views on certain topics. I do feel then.
You know, one thing I do think is interesting. This is what I was about to say, but then I saw he talked about COVID and it distracted me. Is like, I think it's interesting how, say, all these other countries have views on America. Because I feel like if you walk around the U.S. and you ask general Americans what are their views on the U.K., like, we're not gonna have them. And if we do, our views aren't gonna be more of the political. Our views are gonna be more based on the British people, more than the politics. I find that's very interesting.
And not treating the whole COVID.
Maybe I should just walk around. Maybe I should recreate this video in the U.S. and ask Americans in my little small country town what they think of British people or Britain. that could be entertaining actually. If I get enough requests to do something like that, I'll do that.
COVID-19.
I was gonna set a like goal, but I don't know. Just show me that you are interested in me doing that, and I will do that.
Situation very seriously. I'm sure they are, but they don't appear to be. You know, it's
how do I explain this? The government royally fucked up COVID. The general American people were just confused because the government's saying this, then they're saying this, and they're saying this and this. So I feel like the general people, like, I'm assuming this was more in the beginning of COVID. That's what I'm assuming. But like, I'd say we were confused. We were like, what the hell? Well, no, because they were talking about lockdowns and all kinds of. So maybe not the beginning, but maybe this is because they don't have masks on and stuff too. I don't know. I suppose that even so, we were more confused when it was all going on. Then they're like, it's over, and then the government's like, wait, nope, now it's fucked again, and people are just like, what the hell is this?
It comes across that they're not.
It's very easy to become Americanized. That kind of grates on me a little bit. Currently, I think that the whole Black Lives Matter issue, its time has come, and I'm very happy about that. And I wish them all the luck in getting as far as they can in their bid for equality. And of course, we need that here as well, but I don't think it's as bad as it is in the US.
To be honest, I haven't really heard that's one thing I'll say. You don't hear so much about, say, cops in the UK mistreating black people. Now, in the US, I'll be honest, I don't think it happens as much as people believe. I think for the majority of cops, they don't mistreat black people and they, treat everybody with respect. But I think the issue is there are more shitty cops in the US that get more press, which makes all the cops look bad. And because of that, it gives more of a shadow of people being freaked out, which is understandable. But yeah.
US.
Well, interestingly, I was on a study exchange there in Washington, D.C. for the year and had to quickly fly back when everything kind of kicked off. I think that it's important that we remember that the issues that we see in America are reflected here. It's not in a bubble over there. Essentially the issues are expressed differently, but I don't think that they are non-existent here. I think it's important that we remember that and that we acknowledge the role that our country's played in that, and that we recognize our faults, and that everybody keeps educating themselves.
America's so incredibly diverse.
I agree with that 100%, honestly. Like, that is very true. I feel like, a lot of countries have their own issues and they think that it's only there. What I think it is, though, is I feel like right now especially, like, it's so, everybody's like fighting with each other out here, man. It's so stupid. But everybody's straight, blah, 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 you support this or you support this, and it's like, at the end of the day, both sides equally suck, so it's like, I don't know. And we just distract ourselves from all the bullshit. So she spoke some facts there.
That we remember that and that we acknowledge the role that our country's played in that, and that we recognise our faults, and that everybody keeps educating themselves.
America's so incredibly diverse. There's lots of benefits to it. I have some really good friends who are Americans, and they're not part of that minority, I guess it would be.
I think it's a bit of a mess as well.
Country, but I guess it's their own guy in charge of it. The presidency seems to just be on sound bites and very little detail, and I do think that probably America's standing in the world is diminished because of him. If he is the example or the figurehead of that country, how can it be a great country?
With America, in terms of like look,
I hesitate to agree with that, because I don't think one person can truly represent an entire country. You get me? Like, so many people voted in Joe Biden just to get rid of Donald Trump, and it's like, Joe Biden ain't better. Like, fuck, man. I think they both suck equally in their own ways, but you really think that was much of a fucking improvement? Like, goddamn. In some ways, maybe. In other ways, most definitely not. Like, shit.
Down.
At least Donald Trump was funny. Like, honestly, because I'll support whoever makes me laugh more. And Donald Trump, bro, I just love sitting there just watching the Donald Trump memes and him going off on people. Like, it's the most entertaining shit ever, bro. Like, maybe that's not a good thing that I only like Donald Trump because he's funny. But, like, fuck, man, he's hilarious.
I'm glad I'm not there, because they have so many of those anti-lockdown protests as well that kicked off before the BLM protests. It's just frightening, and we don't have that to the same scale here.
But, like, I think what they don't realize is, with the whole anti-lockdown protest, there's nobody that's forcing you to go out, if that makes sense. Like, it wasn't like they were knocking on your doors. You need to come out. No, we must fight this thing. It was just people who didn't want to listen to it. And at least this is the way I looked at it. If you want to go out and you want to do dumb shit and you want to risk getting yourself sick, man, you do that. You risk yourself. That's fine. Anybody who's so concerned about, like, how do I say this? Anybody who's concerned about COVID, who's staying in and doing what they're supposed to do, wasn't going to get COVID anyway. So the way I look at it is, let the people who don't care about COVID get COVID. Let them experience it. I've had COVID 3 times. Was not fun. Let them see how real it is. Like, let them learn for themselves if they don't want to listen.
I feel lucky that I'm not there. I have a lot of family there who are like very concerned about it, as I would be. So yeah, not great, I don't think.
This was an interesting video, to be honest with you. A lot of things, for the most part, like, I don't think there was a whole lot of any views I didn't understand. But I think it's interesting how when you ask British people about America, they think more of the politics. Whereas if I'm walking down the street and you ask me what I think of Britain, I'm going to think more of the British people. Like, I'm not even going to think about the politics of the UK or Britain as a whole. I'm thinking, well, British people are funny, have cool accents. Like, that's what I'd think. I'd be like, they're very funny people with cool accents, and I like their humor. But, I don't know. Interesting. Just, that to me is the most interesting part of it. Being honest. Either way, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Give me a fat ass like, comment, subscribe, and let me know. If somebody just casually walks up to you on the street and asks you what you think of America, what would you say? Would it be something more based on politics? Would it be about the Americans? Like, it's interesting to me. That's really interesting to me. It's something I didn't expect to see. That was more about politics and stuff more than the actual American people. Either way, I'm out. Bye.
With